All right, welcome back to Old Reader, New Reader. Happy Tuesday. I have a special guest, Millie St John, who is an artist who has a new book anthology coming out, Pocket Space, which I'm very excited about. I found her on TikTok, and I was like, "Oh my god, I need a print of your art." She's like, "It's gonna be in a book." And I was like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "Can you be on my show?" And
Oh,
like
did you
maybe be
actually
my friend.
comment?
I did, but it's on my TikTok. I don't actually post there. It's like a picture of a sloth. It's
Oh,
not even my
really?
regular username. Because I just am there to like things and that's it. And I saw you and I was like, oh my god. And I said to my friends, I'm like, oh my god, look. And I was like, I'll just message her on Instagram because I need to message you from like my more like professional related to things. And so it's not just some rando with like a sloth. Like
Hey, I'd respond to the rando too.
and so I was like, okay, maybe she'll say yes. You're like, yeah, sure. And I was like, okay, cool. And then I was like, oh no, am I going to be cool enough to talk to you? So thank you for joining. If you want to give a little quick spiel about yourself, I also put your links and stuff in the bio. So everybody knows we're going to talk, after we talk about PTSD, we will talk about Millie's upcoming work and everything.
Thank you very much, Maddie. My name's Millie St John. I'm a comic artist and animator from Portland, Maine. And we'll get to this after, but I like to do a lot of really colorful work and kind of cute work that kind of deals with emotion, but is also fun and quirky and, comforting, I think. And so I'm working on my first book that'll come out fairly soon, and it's called Pocket Space, and I'm excited to talk about it after.
Yeah. And I've got some art to show from a book after we talk, so please stay tuned because I need other people to be as excited as I am because I'm very excited. And see, I was assuming Brittany's one of yours because she loves you. So
Brittany's my best friend.
Oh, Brittany, thanks for saying hi. So Millie recommended PTSD by, I'm going to forget his last name, Guillaume Singelin. He's French.
Singelin, yeah.
So this is a French writer and illustrator. This is published by First Second. I love that cover so much. I've almost picked up this book a million times.
I think it's so iconic. So I'm actually I've been undercover this whole time. I just wanted to convince you to get me on the show so I could talk about this book. I'm the biggest nerd. I'm the biggest nerd about Guillaume. I have a tattoo.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, one of his works, Valley Girl, on me with his permission. And I've had a collection of his books for a while. So this book specifically, I think is just such a beautiful journey into one artist's vision. And that's why I'm such a fan.
Yeah, I've never read it. I've seen the book everywhere. And it's been an almost buy. And I'm a huge fan of First Second, like the publisher. That's like my favorite place to go.
They do some fantastic work.
And the minute I picked this up, because I read it digitally, but I'm going to buy it physically now. When I say digitally, I did purchase it.
Yeah.
Because the money should go to him.
You come on the stream to be like, and I pirated this work.
And I pirate it. No, I only do that if they're like a bad person. No. He seems nice. So oh my God, I fell totally in love with this. The art style is just incredible. I can highlight you actually if you want to open it to show people.
Oh yeah, so it's a die cut cover, PTSD. When you open it, it immediately kind of does this full scene of the main character Jun and walking around the kind of city. I believe it's based on Tokyo. I think I read that in the back.
Yeah, he said it's like an amalgam, and it totally is because I used to live in Tokyo too. People in the chat.
Oh really?
Yeah,
that's so cool.
I went to college there.
I'm gonna need more information about that after.
Right. I can give that. I'll highlight again to show a little bit of the artwork. Just the color and the layout, the city layouts and the backgrounds are incredible.
And I don't actually know if he did the work in watercolor or not, but he does do traditional watercolor work, and it's just outstanding. I think the fact that, again, it's just him and he colored the entire thing, did all the graphics, everything like that. And he shows such a wide range of color dynamics throughout the book to kind of evoke different moods. I just think it's an incredible work.
I'm glad that I have you, an artist, here to talk about that part. Because me, I'm just like, oh my god, it's beautiful. The color work, and I don't have like the specificity to talk about things. But as a regular reader, um, we'll get to the story. I just had to talk about the art first. It's so beautiful. The character design too. Everyone is so dynamic and unique.
Right.
And I think they're drawn in a really fun way. And you talked before about drawing things a lot of color, and not cuteness, but like it can give that, like evoke that. But it's such heavy content, and I like that. I like the mix of that. I think it makes it more accessible. I think it makes it less scary, but it doesn't make it any less moving.
I think that is why when I initially found Guillaume's work, I just immediately connected with it because it's, first of all, to get this good at drawing, I don't even know how many years it took. Like, it's such an incredibly like niche down style where everything is considered in the way that the backgrounds are incredibly diverse. There's always something to look at. And then they're kind of juxtaposed by the simpler kind of foreground characters that are also, like you said, incredibly dynamic. It's just and the thing that he's incredible at, I think, is world building in general. And I think this is really an exercise in like, let's go through this world, but I'm not going to show you, or I'm not going to tell you everything about the world. I'm going to show it to you. And it's up to you to kind of like look closely and get really immersed in it to find all the details.
Which I love because, he like the whole time when I started reading it, I was like, he's not saying what this is or where this is.
Exactly.
It's like completely fictional. But there's definitely mixes, right? Because you have mixes of various cultures. I mean, the Japanese influence is obviously there, but there still is the Western influence as well. Like, and he mentions that, like, he definitely combines like his experience in Tokyo with France. But he draws a lot of inspiration from things like Akira, which is very obvious. Just how incredible and diverse and complicated the scenery is. I cannot imagine anyone doing that much background work in anything.
Right. And I'm so wildly impressed because like even like here's a water scene, for example. It's just beautiful. And you immediately wonder, oh, this city is like partially underwater. It looks kind of intentional, kind of not. Like I'd love to know more. Yeah. But again, like he doesn't come out and tell you. He really makes you work for it and look into it. And as far as what the characters are eating, what they're, what these pills are that they are taking, like he never says it. It's just, and I think that's an amazing way to storytell, especially if you're an artist and that's the way that you're choosing to bring people through your world.
Which I like. I've said before, comic books, you don't have to over-explain everything. Your audience is going to fill in the gaps. And sometimes that's nicer that way. I think if you're telling a story, especially something like this that deals with war and PTSD, which I start with my summary. I will after I make this comment. I
get a little carried away on the art.
I love it. I don't care. I told you we're chill here. I appreciate that. I appreciate that I don't have to focus as much on the authenticity of what's happening or having to relate it to actual world events. It is what it is. It just exists in order to tell this person's story and experience and give these emotions without you having to be boggled down by relating it to something in real life. Before I give a summary, or not summary, but a little tidbit, Bert was saying finally an old reader, I can talk. Old reader, new reader. I've actually read. I finished this like last month and loved it. The art and story, can't find much else by the author. Since you were a big Guillaume fan, I would love if you could recommend.
Yeah, let me jump in on that one. So this book is, you're not going to be able to, here's the thing. Since he's from France, it's kind of hard to get stuff here. Go straight, walk, don't run to Peow Studios, PEOW ! Mm-hmm. I think they're Swedish, but they kind of are more of an indie producer of this kind of work, like generally the kind of cutesier but darker artworks. Hannah, I don't remember her last name, but she worked on Adventure Time for a while, and she's a pretty it starts with K.
Man, it's gonna be, give me a second, it'll happen. You keep going.
But I would say that her style is kind of similar in a way, and they also publish work by her. But this is Junkie. It's Guillaume's art book, and it has an interview with him. It has like a phenomenal deep dive into all of these different worlds that he's built. And it only gives you like a second, but you get to see like with this one art style, the way he kind of manipulates it and changes it and switches it to a new world. I believe this is all PTSD art. But this is phenomenal. He also just came out with a game, if you like his art style.
I love games.
Yeah, it's so, I don't know if you can show this graphic on, I should have been more prepared, but it's Citizen Sleeper.
Okay.
You should Google it right now. It is beautiful. And I think where he uses kind of more of a watercolor palette in this book, in Citizen Sleeper, it's much more of a space adventure. So it's, very saturated pinks and purples and blues and everything like that.
All right. So here's an example of the art from Citizen Sleeper.
Fantastic.
Ooh, well, I'm going to have to buy that. That's going to happen.
Yeah. I would say he did one comic before him, but I've never been able to get my hands on it, or like one published one. But I think PTSD was like his real, like, I get to do this kind of book. But let me turn you on to Payout Studio, buy everything from there immediately. And maybe Junkie might still be around.
I would like that because I love the art. So, real quick, to give a kind of description, people at home have read PTSD. Like the title may suggest, it is dealing with a veteran, Jun, who went through a war. She is now living on the streets in this big city. And it's her journey of kind of figuring out how to be herself in this city and deal with her trauma, while also detailing what she's gone through in the past and the person that she was in the war. And so it's kind of a back and forth of her interacting with people of the city, especially this one woman who runs a local, like, little new restaurant, and her baby. I don't remember her name, but I know she calls her baby Bao, which is really cute.
Her name is
Leona. And so basically in this story, as she's kind of going through that, she's pushing everyone away, but she ends up being that kind of anime hero that begrudgingly saves people. Yeah. And then kind of wins their hearts back at the end while coming into her own again and learning how to accept that love and someone taking care of you. And that is me oversimplifying this a lot so that we can talk more in depth about it. But if you're looking for like a quick, what is this story about? There you go. There it is. So I'd love to jump in. First, I never make outlines for how to talk about books. So I am a string of consciousness. So hopefully that's okay with you.
That's what I'm comfortable with as well.
Perfect. I think maybe a good starting point is to talk about Jun herself as a character, and then talk about the different things she goes through in those side characters. Number one, I love her.
Yes.
And maybe that's as an anime fan too, because she feels like that. She feels not like a trope, but she has some of those same like characteristics to her as someone. It's like is a familiar character that I've seen with more to her.
Well, I think I'm always like the biggest fan of like, no matter what, like, we're not apologizing. This character is badass. Sorry, it's just
100%. She is. She is so cool.
I think with Jun, like, it's just, sorry, we're not apologizing. She's badass. She fights in the streets. You know, she's got a gun. Like, she's an incredible doctor. Like, just deal with it. It makes the story better. And so I kind of love that aspect of it.
I love her character design. She's got an eye patch, so it already makes her really cool. Look how cool she is. She's so cool.
So cool.
And I love how real she is. Like, she is not always a likable character.
Right. No.
And I enjoy that about her because she says awful things to people and she is not willing to open up. And, you know, it takes a while to really understand where she comes from because you see the Jun before, who is the one who takes care of everyone.
Right.
Which I love. I loved watching, like, going back in time, and she's the sniper. She's the one-hit kill. She literally always keeps her eye out to take care of everybody.
Yeah.
And at the expense of herself. And then you see her now, and she's not that person at all. Does not help people. is annoyed
Isn't
by it.
kind.
No, she's so mean. But it still slips in there because she can't help herself, which I love stories like that.
Yeah.
Of course, once she gets a dog halfway through, which naturally is going to help, and the dog is perfect, as dogs are.
The dog is absolutely perfect. I gotta say, whenever somebody introduces a dog, I spend the entire book being concerned about the dog. Like, I'm like, if you give this character a dog and it is unsafe,
oh my god.
But I think they use the dog in a really good way, and they talk about kind of at the end, like the whole book is kind of a deep dive into the trauma of coming back from like a war zone or maybe any sort of trauma. And at the beginning, she's not handling herself at all, and then as she goes through the book, you know, she finds a better support system, gets a better community, and even the dog, for example, is something that I think the author did research on to like read more about support animals.
But yeah, it was great because she meets another veteran who's taking care of a lot of dogs and who has really isolated himself. But
Yes.
he sees something in her, like a younger him, and realizes, okay, maybe she needs someone to take care of, who can kind of take care of her. And the dog is like that for her. Because up to this point, she has been just taking care of herself. She's taking a lot of drugs to kind of mute her pain. And you get to a point, which I really like, where she's helping people and it makes her hands shake a little less.
Right, exactly. Where like she realizes that the way to get better isn't the dependency necessarily. It's to get back to herself that she was.
And I love that. I love that she finds, and it's not immediate and doesn't work well completely.
Right.
And not everything she does works well, which I like. Because she helps that first guy, who I love, because he's got that like,
with the longer hair.
Yeah, it's a type of like Japanese Shinto monster. Yeah, there's like a thing. Somebody in the chat will know, where they cover one eye, looks like an umbrella kind of. Somebody knows. I don't remember. But she helps heal him, and not long after that, she finds out somebody's got beaten up by these people on the other side of town, and she's like, "Okay, where are they from?" Very cool move.
Right.
And then just goes out with a gun, and she is like really killing people, and she's really messing stuff up. And she continues to do this, and she thinks she's doing the right thing, and I don't think she's not doing the right thing.
Yeah.
But it's more complex than she thinks it is. These people have a reason why they're doing it, and it's hurting other people in the community. And I love watching that unfold around her, because that is also part of her growth.
I think it's very interesting storytelling because it puts her in a position where like you kind of, obviously she's an anti-hero in some ways. And it's like, ultimately the book is about this microcosm of this city where people are being incredibly affected and veterans have been let down. And you find out that the hero of the book isn't helping at all and is kind of choosing to relive war. Because I think that's also an interesting commentary that the author is going for there. Like they're essentially saying, these people go to war, they're trained in how to fight. That's what they're good at. That's what they live in. Not necessarily real world skills. And then they're dropped back, and you can kind of see the art in the book. When they're in the war zone, it's much more open. It's much more like it's nature. And that's a huge contrast to the city where none of those skills apply anymore. And the only way she can find to apply them is by fighting.
Yeah, they talk about that, which is a very real world thing I'm sure a lot of us have seen, at least in the US. I can't speak for other countries, but we see vets come back and have no support system.
Exactly.
And any medical help is very complicated. And so, of course, naturally, these people find themselves here because they literally don't know what else to do.
Yeah.
And she finally was like, okay, if I help people, this is going to work, but she's not helping people in maybe the right
Not
way.
at all.
And I love it because she hits that moment where she's fighting this guy who's like, listen, I know selling drugs isn't great, but I have a reason I'm doing it for my family.
Right.
And he says, like, you've never left the war, have you?
You're that was a good call out line.
Because a perfect, like, whoa moment for her. Like, oh, shit. You're right. You're right about this.
I think what's interesting is that in the end, too, it's not like she returns to the person she was. Like she takes another skill that she learned in war, which was to be a doctor, and applies that. And that's kind of the healthy coping mechanism that she finds rather than the previously destructive one. Yeah.
And I love that it takes time for her. Like, I love that it's not like, oh, I'm back, I'm going to heal everybody, and I've got all these skills, and I'm just going to accept it. But she really has to rely on that first person she helped that sees a glimmer in her to help her lead her through this. And it takes time, and everyone's going to say awful things about her, that she's a traitor, and they're going to be mean to people that are nice to her. And it takes a lot of humility to get past that. And it's not an immediate thing, but it still feels good. And she's willing to make that change for herself. And I love that.
I am a big fan of a concise and consolidated story. We're just following this one person. We're only following this particular plot arc. Like, nothing's too complicated. It's like tied up neatly. And I think that's another thing that Guillaume does so well in this, is like, doesn't try and go too crazy, just sticks to the one story and does it the absolute best he can, and does a phenomenal job of it.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is very much, I felt very concluded in this. And that's,
exactly.
That's not easy.
Exactly.
It's not as easy as people think. And I've read many a book that, even though they're one graphic novel, doesn't feel complete when I'm done. And I feel like I'm missing something. And I don't feel that way at all with this. It completely delivered. And I felt very satisfied at the end.
Right.
And the bar is low on that. I read a lot of books.
With graphic novels,
Yeah, I read some big twos where I'll never have closure.
Right.
But I thought this was beautiful, and also I feel like I can revisit it. And partly that is because of the art, because I want to go back and see those faces in the art again.
Right, and like really look around.
Yeah. Okay, there's other things I want to talk about. Oh man, I'd love to talk about the side supporting characters as well. So
I feel like I was here for Bao from the beginning to the end. Just a phenomenal character.
Talk about it.
So cute. So Bao is the son of Leona, who's the shop owner, and I mean, just mainly used as kind of like this safety character. Like, this is kind of alluding to the fact that there is a life in the city outside of this crisis that's happening.
Yeah.
And that sometimes they collide together. And Bao is just this cute kid who helps his single mom run the restaurant that she works at, and just a trooper and a great attitude. And I think that's a great moment of levity to add to a story like this.
Yeah, I really love Leona and Bao, and I love how they interact with June.
Yes, I agree.
Because I can see that, one, probably Leona also sees some camaraderie as seeing another woman there, and also as a woman who is by themselves.
Right.
And who's having to make things for themselves, because she is here running a restaurant on her own. She's a single mother, and it's not going easy for her. She's also reaching out for people.
Right, she's trying to build a community.
Yeah, like trying to get the locals to enjoy her food. She's trying to get in here, but she's keeping up with it. And I think through meeting June, she starts realizing, because she gets hurt by June, but not in a way that stops her from trying.
Right.
Because she understands, like, this isn't her.
Well, and I think I really admired that. I love characters that are like that are willing to like persist through a tough exterior, and I think that really works with the main character's personality of being super standoffish. Like, having a character that's willing to push through is always a great way to tell a story.
Oh, absolutely. Because I think you need someone like that to be the fold. Is the fold the right term? Like the opposite of her. Here.
Plus, to mention that I think the way that the artist colored all the scenes with Leona and Bao in it, they're just suddenly way happier. Like, we're using brighter tones versus usually when June's alone, it's a lot darker, it's a lot grittier. But as soon as Leona and Bao come in, kind of again, like, a lot of levity is added to the situation. And plus, the store looks so cute.
So cute, and she's so cute.
Yeah.
Like, as a character, she's just so cute. I love the way she's designed. I love her more like Japanese clothing, the way she carries things.
Yeah.
And I love her in the background continuing to be someone that supports the houseless people in her neighborhood.
Right.
And like being a person to help the community throughout. Let me highlight you. She's
Leona,
so
the mom. And this is Bao.
I love her. She reminds me of I'm a huge Ghibli fan, so it's hard not to relate it to Ghibli things.
Oh
But
yeah.
Ursula from Kiki's Delivery Service, she's got that vibe of like a hard. She's a woman, like the artist that lives in the woods. The vibe that just
My
like
favorite.
I'm going to take care of things, and I'm here to be sort of like your not moral compass, but I am here to help you on your journey of self-discovery.
The nicest compliment anyone has ever given to me was my cousin's fiance's sister one time was like, "You remind me of Ursula from Kiki's Delivery Service," and I was like, "I will never let that go. I will bring that with me forever. Thank you."
I wish I was that type of artist.
Dream compliment. Oh yeah, ideal.
Yeah, I loved her. I really love. I'm also a big fan of the veteran with all of the animals.
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
his story is devastating, but he's such an important character, and he has so much to like. He has so much more to give than he probably thinks. You know, you have this person who sees himself, who's isolated, who's taking care of his animals.
Right, like he seems like he has it together. That's
really
the kind of thing. Like he's created a life, and so I guess I was surprised when he was talking about how he doesn't actually have a community. But I think we never learn his name, and that's kind of even more of a hitter. Like it's this anonymous, savior that kind of comes in and shakes her out of it, and kind of allows her to keep growing.
Yeah, he's just I don't know. I love a mentor in a story.
Please. I am always here for a mentor, especially one that's surrounded by animals.
Oh, of course.
Can't think of a better character archetype.
If it's a begrudging old man, even better. Oh, this is my pug Moose, by the way.
Hello, Moose.
He always needs to be in the same room as me, so he may spoon on his butt at some point. So let's hope.
Please, some extra visuals for the stream.
We can only hope. But yeah, and all the other side characters, I think it was very easy they're very distinguishable from one another.
Yes.
Like, I don't always read the excerpts at the back of the book, like, not the excerpts, but like the extra, like, author's note. And I'm very bad about that. I know, but I truly love someone if I do.
Yeah.
If I really love the journey of the book, I'm going to devour every word that person has to say. And immediately I'm like, I need to look at all the sketches. I need to know your process. I need to know where you've been. And, I love seeing the journey I love seeing all the influences.
I did read this comment from Chris, and I'm sorry that apparently Junkie is $200 on Amazon. So that totally stinks. But there's an interview in it that is incredibly worth reading. I wish you could contact him. This is another thing where I'm like, if only you could support the artist directly, because I feel like that price is a resale. But it's a very interesting interview, and I think it's very honest because I think he's an artist operating at the top of his game right now, really found exactly the kind of aesthetic and niche that he's looking for and really killing it. But at the same time, he kind of talks in the interview about how much of a struggle it is literally to make comics, these things that people enjoy so much, that are so beautiful. It's so much work and you don't get paid a lot. So I think, sorry, go ahead. I just think it's a very honest interview that I remember reading when I first got the book, and I was like, okay, yeah, that's fair.
It reminds me of a tweet I saw recently where someone was saying, you can find this art from one artist who just does like portraits or whatever, and one will sell for 1,000. Now imagine being someone like this, or like Shep and Sejic, or a million other artists who have to make every page like this. Right.
And it's just, I think there's so, this is something I think about a lot, and I think there's so much devaluation of the artistic process in our culture. I hate to bring this up, but with AI art and everything,
listen, we can talk about it. I'm very upset about it. I just think
it genuinely glosses over the time it takes to be this good. And I think that's sad in a way. Isn't it beautiful that people spend their lives not making a lot of money? I mean, they should make more money, but like not making a lot of money to get to the point of creating something this beautiful and this concise. And to have that, you know, and then a computer can go take all of their images, you know, you feed all of them in, and then it spits out copies of their hard work, essentially.
Oh, absolutely.
So, my little rant.
And I would love more of this. Honestly, reading this, and I collect a lot of comic books, and a lot of people in our community do. And so I see something like this, and I think, oh my God, I wish I had an oversized. I wish I could see this art larger. Because honestly, every page would be beautiful by itself on a wall. Like,
yeah. Oh, exactly. And
I felt the same way seeing. I'm not trying to blow smoke up your ass, but like I felt the same way seeing Euro. I was like, I would like a print of all these on my wall. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. This is what it would look like, and
great. Obviously,
there will be a couple oversized for sale. So
I'll buy it. And listen, if you make a Kickstarter, make anything, I will promote the hell out. I shouldn't say fuck on here.
That's what will be coming.
I did it twice.
No, I mean, I'm cool with it. I don't know if you're.
It's a late night show. It's fine. I think it's within the first 5 minutes you can, or YouTube flags it or something weird.
Oh, really?
I don't pay attention. But that's okay. Okay. I want to make sure we have time to talk about your book and also time to chat with the chat.
Sure.
Is there anything else you'd like to add about PTSD before we give it like a rating?
I just think everyone should really spend time with it in general. Like, really, it's so easy to read a comic book and kind of go past every single panel just really quick. And I think the amount of time that this artist worked in order to be able to render these panels so flawlessly with so much detail and so much thought is worth, you know, spending extra time thinking about them.
100%. I did read it digitally. I will be making a point to buy it personally, and it will stay on my shelf forever, except when I'm reading it, of course, because I look forward to rereading this and making everybody read it.
Yeah, I agree.
So thank you so much for bringing it to my life.
No problem. When you asked that, I was like, don't even get me started on my list of books. But I think Guillaume is a great choice because tattoo of the work, I follow, you know, I have as many books as I possibly can, and I'm obsessed. So very specific.
I love it. I love when friends have tattoos from comics that they like. Because my friend has like Jeff Lemire tattoos.
Oh, sick. I mean, all of my tattoos are from like illustrators and comic artists that I'm just like way too obsessed with. So
I love
very specific.
Yeah. So normally we give a rating out of 10. I tend to rate entirely on feeling. Some people find this upsetting because they're like, really, is it a 10 out of 10? It is for me because that's how I rate personally. For me, this is a 10 out of 10 because I was not left for wanting for anything. I think the art is absolutely incredible. And if there were no words, the art would be a 10 out of 10 still. But I love the story, and I love how well it's consolidated. I love the journey with her. And I was just very pleased. It delivered exactly what it needed to deliver. And I'm very happy about that. And I want to reread it. And that in itself is big.
I agree. I think I would also give it a 10 out of 10. You kind of, you know, feel like I told on myself, but easy for me. I think I really consume comic books based on how much love I feel like the artist put into it and how specific it looks like a project the art was. And I think from that I can tell. And I also love a concise story and somebody who doesn't go all over the place. And I love a fight scene, and they're very good. They're very well done. And to do that while also evoking emotion, because I also feel like a lot of comic books swing one way or the other. We can talk about feelings or we can fight.
100%.
This is a book that's like, we're going to do both. Sit down.
Yeah. And with that type of art style, that's not easy to be
exactly
sort of cute.
Exactly. And he's not shy. Like, I'm spoiler, but like somebody just gets shot at one point.
100%.
And I was like, oh.
A lot of blood.
Right. I was expecting a different art style for that, but I like how it doesn't treat the reader, you know, it doesn't hold hands or anything.
Yeah. So now's the time where we talk about your upcoming book.
Yeah.
And then we chat with the chat. So Pocket Space, we have to talk about, I did have some art to show that you shared with me. I saw this little frog and I was like, I'll die for this book.
Thank you.
Especially all of your like TikToks with a very emotional, because you would show little bits with like very emotional scenes,
So
and I was like, I need to know
they're
everything.
very dramatic, and I think that's like, I wanted to create a book that's like, it, you know, pulls every punch. Like, it's dramatic and I don't care. You know, everyone is expressing their feelings kind of at all times, and you know, borderline to the extent where like it might be a little cringy, but I think that's the kind of energy that you like lean into and you get right past. Like, you know, there's crying, there's like love, everything like that. And I think that it just, you know, getting to it head on like that is, one, like funny, and two, like, you know, you kind of feel invested and involved. Like, I like it.
So, what can you tell us about Pocket Space? I've just seen bits and pieces. I don't know what you can say.
Yes,
I've seen bits and pieces of what you shared. Again, like I said, I would die for these characters. I don't even know that much about them. I just am very, I'm very invested.
Well, I think I was incredibly lucky in that way because, well, so Pocket Space is a book I've been working on for 1 year about as of now. I thought it would only take 6 months. If anyone in the chat is trying to write a comic book, it will not take you 6 months. Do not be that ambitious. Lower your standards. It's going to take forever. But it's basically, it's kind of an action adventure meets romance about a little frog whose name is Frog, who's trying to become the greatest fighter to ever live. There are monsters in the universe, and the frog is just kind of a mess, like just kind of a mess in general. And they end up finding this place called the Edge of the Universe, which is a place that is a secret that people go to just kind of feel feelings and like breathe and, you know, learn how to pursue their goals, essentially. And when they're there, they meet this bunny called Bunny, who's the greatest space racer to ever live. And they're like hot and cool, and they fall deeply in love. And it's kind of about, and then they pursue their dreams together. And it's kind of about that love arc, and also about following dreams, and also about just me getting to draw whatever I want.
I am stoked about that. Let me show a couple more things of art, and I'd love to talk about. I picture your wall, just a little behind you.
That's my wall back there.
But some more cool frog doing stuff. And
yeah, so
look at the bunny.
So this bunny, that's Bunny. They're in love. And then there's the bear, who's kind of like, you said you love an old wise mentor. That's Bear. And then there's Duck, who's kind of also a mess, but they're like a baby. And they kind of essentially play a part in Frog's life, where they're kind of teach Frog about, you know, selflessness and taking care of the younger generation and everything like that.
I love it. Brittany's right. We're all out here living our froggiest life.
Our froggiest life.
So I put your website down below, links to your socials and stuff. And also a link to exactly where to go to find more information about Pocket Space. Because I know right now you have on your website, people at home.
Yes.
Check our description. You can click that link and sign up for the mailing list to hear about release information when that happens.
Yeah. So the way I'm doing it is I'm old school. I love a good webcomic. I think webcomics are fantastic, and I think they're a great medium for releasing content, a much better medium than writing an entire book and then kickstarting it. Much smarter. But I think, like, when I first started writing the book, I released a lot of it on TikTok, and that was phenomenal because it brought people in. But at the same time, I kind of felt like it was getting away from me, like the story I wanted to write, because I felt like I started to write towards viewers. Mm-hmm. So if you sign up for my mailing list, then I will mail you right before the Kickstarter launches. And then you can get in on this train.
Real quick before I say more. So pretty. Love this art style. I know you would, Dime. Love this. Your use of color in the base of the story is amazing.
Thank you.
I'm super excited. I'm glad that you're releasing it all at once, because I talked with a friend recently that, you know, we've read some great webtoons, but I can't imagine how stressful it is when you start to have to continue to meet those deadlines. And sometimes I can see where it'd be more advantageous to write it all together so you have time. Because I'm sure sometimes we have writers that, you know, they're written their webtoon and then later they're like, you know what, but I would have fixed this part before. I think it'd make a more cohesive story. And I personally like it all in one together. I don't like waiting either, personally. I like it together.
I think my thing too is like I'm such an art nerd that my library is filled with comics and art books. And so when I was writing Pocket Space, I was like, I actually want to write an art book, but I want it to be like, if you can see back there, every single page is different. It has a different layout, like a different,
which I love.
Thank you. Like a different vibe. And with every single page, I try to do like a different exploration on what are the characters doing here? How can I show them in a different way? So it's kind of half art book, half comic book in that way. And so I didn't want to release it as a webtoon because I wanted people to hold it. And like in the way that PTSD is so like such a moment to hold and you can like sit with it. And I think also the other thing about webtoons is when you're reading them, you're plugged in to the internet and you're kind of competing with this deluge of like your friend texting you or your work or like something like that. And when I was coming up with the idea for Pocket Space, I really wanted to create a space like when I was a kid and right before bed, you sit down, you curl up and you read like Winnie the Pooh, and that's a different place you go to. Yeah. I really want Pocket Space to be like a timeout where you can like
a pocket space that you can exist.
Yeah, exactly. Like in the way that the edge of the universe in the book is a place you go to just kind of like relax and figure it out. Like you can read about these characters and kind of think about what they're doing and feeling and have that space.
And I also know for me and like the rest of the book collecting community, because we have a group and I will be sharing your Kickstarter religiously. Also because I like you and I hope that you come back on the show if you ever want to.
Oh, please. No, if you want me when it launches, I'm so in.
I would love that. Because also I want to hear about the rest of the books you like, which I'll ask about in a second. But,
it's all
I know for me and the others, we like a nice collected edition. We like to hold it. We like to have it. You know, digital I love, and I love the colors. I enjoy the colors of reading, or I enjoyed seeing the colors digitally of PTSD, but it's not the same as having the art here, and it feels really special to hold a piece of the art with you, especially like a Kickstarter thing where it feels like I really invested in this artist and this person.
Right.
And now I get to like be a part of their journey and have this piece.
Exactly.
It feels nicer to me.
And I think it's also a way to like then I get control over what's happening with all my images and stuff like that. And I'm still just trying to figure everything out. So, you know, I'm not saying it won't be released someday, but the other thing about this book, so I drew it all 44 by 16. So it's huge. These are all 16-inch prints, but I do intend to have a 44 by 16 book printed.
Love that. I love a long book.
Me too. And the thing that people say, like, if they ever like come over, they'll be like, "Oh, this looks so much better than it looked on Instagram or whatever." Like getting to actually sit with the images, which I'm not offended. It's fine, but I just think printing it in a book does it so much more justice.
Yeah, and there's a few books that I like. They're like the longer version. Like, oh my god, I can't forget his name. I'll be so upset. Oh, where is it? Okay, Ezra Clayton Daniels, his second book, Bottom Feeders, is like a longer one, and I love a different shape of a book.
So
as long as it reflects the art.
When I started writing it, I have I'm not good with attention. It's not my thing, and I'd never been able to complete a book before. Yeah. And I think the very prototypical format, which I love, don't get me wrong, like, you know, up and down reading, left to right, couldn't do it for the life of me, because then all of those pages have to connect, and I lost in the sauce every time. So when I started writing Pocket Space, I was like, I'll pick one page format. I ended up picking this one.
Yeah.
And I'll just make a bunch of different pages. And if they tie together, they do. But it was a creative solution that allowed me to actually create a body of work, when before I'd start trying to write a comic in a normal way, and then I'd be like, this is confusing. I want to draw something different. So
I like that. James is making fun of me because we joked on the show, like, I came with the smell of the book and the face feel, so very often I've wrote books in my face because the cover feels nice.
Look, and
this happens a lot. I really like when it feels nice. It's a nice paper.
You walk, first of all, if you're not being specific about paper, then what are you doing? They're all different.
I appreciate that.
Got to make another shout out to Junkie again. But some of this is printed on more like craft paper.
Yeah.
And then some of it is shiny paper.
Oh.
You know? So the variants.
I love that.
So I think I might try and do something like that as well.
I just think sensory adventure reading a book.
I just think like a well-crafted book, because I'm a huge book collector, with all the little extras and everything like that. Like, name something more fun. Personally, I cannot.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I have a big comic book basement downstairs. This is just
That's the coolest thing I've ever heard.
Thank you.
That's
why I got this house, for that reason.
I bought a house so that I could have a comic book basement.
Yeah, absolutely I did.
That's hot girl energy.
Thank you. Finally, someone realized it. That's where all the statues in the books live. So I can be like, look at these books. I'm like, that's cool.
Oh, please.
Okay.
I have a little book nook over there with all my comic books and then like comfy stuff. Yeah, but every day I look over and I think, I don't think those books are taking up nearly enough space. We need to build. We need to get bigger.
I agree. So I would love to know, what are some of your favorite books?
Yes.
Anybody has questions in the chat, feel free to ask it for Millie and I'll highlight it. But I would just like to know, I like your taste already.
I'm ready for this.
Okay.
This book, have you read it?
Oh, okay. I haven't read it yet because I love literally everything from TKO, like, so much.
This book I just picked up. It was after we talked, so I didn't have the time to recommend it. Okay. Oh my god.
Okay, I've got it downstairs and the little cards because I ordered
by Junie Ba. It's his first like all-in-one too. Previously I think he did art for things, but I think you can see. Let me stand up and show you.
Okay.
Like the comic style is so specifically curated, and every art, the color design, everything like that, perfect flow. It's kind of giving like Samurai Jack, Cartoon Network.
Literally going to say the same thing.
Exactly.
Those heavy outlines.
And I just so talented. I think they say on the back, influence of 2000s era Cartoon Network enter the brain of an average Senegalese boy. Like it's just a new take on the Cartoon Network style that we've seen. Yeah. And it's, brought to Senegalese culture, and it's so good.
All right, I'll read it this week.
And the use of negative space in the book as well. It's just like, please, I cannot handle it. It's so good. I don't know if anyone in the chat is an artist. Are you an artist?
No. Well, I'm an artist and I do photography. I don't illustrate anything.
Well, if anyone in the chat draws, space drawing in perspective, Dong Ho Kim is the best artist. Very, very Guillaume adjacent.
Okay.
If you ever need to learn how to draw perspective, get this book immediately. It's the best book ever. I would argue this book, Gravity Falls, Lost Legends.
Okay.
Kind of a gimme, but it's also the funniest comic book I've ever read. Yeah. Like the gags, you can see why these people are so good at what they do. The gags in this book, fantastic.
I love comic books from cartoons.
I agree, and I think that's these are frequently writers who are writing for primetime TV.
Oh yeah,
and I don't think a lot of comics these days. I think they've kind of gotten away from gags. And the way they do gags in this book is so good.
I love that. I love a good joke. I love a good pun. I'm here for it.
Exactly. I've been reading How to Pick a Fight.
He's got a pompadour.
By Laura Kamenoff. It's kind of another like scrappy fighter book, which, you know, very, very much up my alley. So
I'm gonna like this right now. I have a thing for pompadours.
Yeah. I'm gonna give that perspective book a look, please.
Yeah.
This you buy from Superani. I don't know if you've ever been on Superani.
No.
Best, in my opinion, best artists in the world curated into a group on Superani, and their books are sold on Superani.com.
I've never heard of this. I have seen some of the books that are on here shared from people. Okay. I did have Valerie had a question. Favorite source for book purchases?
So right down next to me, this guy that used to date, or they were friends with my mom in high school. He runs a comic book store, and it's one of the best comic book stores ever. And it's down right down in my city. So I like to support local. You know, that's
that's in Portland, Maine, right?
Yeah. It is. I have forgotten their name because I'm panicking.
That is okay. No pressure. It's okay if you don't.
But I just feel like they do a really good job of integrating. You know, a lot of times you go in the comic book store, it's only got Casablanca comics.
Yeah,
it's only got the big two. And they have a huge kids section, and they have a huge indie section. So most of my books I get from there. But otherwise, art books I get from Superani. If anybody can get access to Gallery Nucleus books in LA.
Yeah. I'm awkwardly typing these out as you mentioned them, so I don't forget things.
No, it's okay. I'll go forever.
Ashley said, "Can't confirm the perspective book is amazing, even to look at as a non-artist." I was thinking the same thing.
I mean, it's this Dong Ho Kim is like a street sketch artist.
Yeah.
And you can just tell the years of work he's put in to be right top of his game.
I love it. I'm very jealous that you have like local stores that are like that. I have some great local stores. Most of them cater to the big two, and they don't cater as much as, which I still love. Obviously, I've got Wonder Woman things around me, but I am a huge fan of like indie or like non-big two graphic novels. If I got a store that's only first, second, I would be very pleased.
I want first, second lined up with Piao. I love Boom stuff. I think it's
of course.
I think it's great. The first, second do what's her name keeps breaking up with me. Laura Dean.
Wait, I think so. Yeah, Laura Dean keeps breaking up with me. I sometimes, but her newest book is you had to buy it somewhere else, so I think it's a different publisher then. But oh my god, her art!
I met her early days.
Fan, so that's my.
She lives, I believe, in Massachusetts, and we would go to the same comic book shows, and it's just seeing the art before even Laura Dean came out. I was just like, I actually have. If you're willing to stay for a second,
I am. Absolutely. Oh my god, you have a dog. There was a dog there the whole time.
Yeah.
Oh, they have a little bandana. Brittany says the dog's name is Akira.
Yeah.
Very cute.
I mean, so it's, a dual name after the film, and also Akira Toriyama, the creator of Dragon Ball Z, who I think is, in my opinion, the most influential artist of a generation.
Wow, that's big.
I have this book, which is probably my art. I couldn't find the book by Rosemary, but it's just a little zine that she made that she's really going off with. But this book,
very nice,
is a fantastic collection of an amazing artist as well.
I love that. I love this. You have to come on again and talk about more books. I think there's so much in common. I simply use this to make friends. That's the real reason.
I think that's amazing.
Now I have to figure out what conventions you go to and then be like, hey, what's up?
No, if you want to link up, I'm totally down for it.
Okay, cool.
I'm trying to get back into conventions, like selling after the pandemic.
Yeah.
And once Pocket Space is done, I'll
That'll
go
be
on a tour with that.
I am stoked. Absolutely. Seriously, I will share the shit out of your book. Like, I'm excited
No,
about
I'd love
it.
that. I need genuinely all the help I can get because I'm so quiet and I get shy. And, you know, I'm working on it, but...
I'm shy for myself, but it's for other people, then I'm good. So if
right.
you need like, for several friends at conventions, like, I will go by their booth and be like, no, I'm going to talk this shit about this book. Right. So, like, people walking by, and then they'll go buy this stuff. Like, I'll be your person. Not for me. But right. I will do it for other people.
I'm the same way, where it's like, I don't know, well, art's so personal, too. So.
Brittany wants to know if there's going to be Pocket Space merch.
Yeah, and it's going to be awesome. And I think Brittany already knows that, but...
I figured she did, that's why she's asking. She's helping being your your spokesperson.
They actually made me this sweater, which is a Pocket Space sweater.
Aww.
Which is like, I was like, I haven't even finished the book yet, so I can't take credit for the, but it's...
I love that. Look at you, Brittany. Hi.
But I plan to do, I think fashion design is a really interesting place that I don't think a lot of illustrators are going into. Well, they are, but kind of, I don't know if they're really honing in on it. So I'd really like to spend some time there.
I love it because I see some of them doing it like a few different ones, like Babs Tarr, who's done like some art in DC, who's done some stuff, Jem Bartel, and a few smaller ones that have done a good mix of just like knowing that their art can sell well on merch.
Right.
And it does. And it's cool to see both of that. It's 9:00, Crystal. You for another 10 minutes. Are you okay?
Please. Okay. I'm just riding
really enjoying
off the high
that
you wanted to talk about my book collection.
I am very excited about it. I really am.
Work my way down.
I'm excited you said yes. So, so what other things are you into, Millie? What's that like? I know you like a lot of art books and comic books. Like, any other fun hobbies or like comic book origin stories? Sometimes I ask people that, like, what's your origin story about stuff, or
like the origin story of my life?
Yeah. No, I mean like in getting into comic books and stuff. Like, what started you into this medium?
Oh yeah. So I actually always, it's the kind of thing where when you look back on it, you're like, duh, that was obvious. But when you're growing up as a kid, you're like, oh, maybe I want to be a doctor, or like you're just completely ignoring all signs. So all I would read was Garfield comics. I would steal them from my library and never return them, which is, don't do that.
Yeah.
And then basically, like even in 5th grade, we had to do a report on the person that we admired the most. And I did Jim Davis, the creator of Garfield. And it involved, and our final project had to be like an inspired project by that. So I did this like cow comic. So obviously I was obsessed, but I wasn't getting it. And so, I went through high school and I was super into drawing, but I think I just came from a family that was like, you have to do a certain career. So I was like, yeah, art school's dumb. It's not dumb. You should go if you want to. So I was a software engineer for a while, and I would spend all of my time drawing and dropping out of college and just going back to drawing over and over again. And I think it was finally like in the last 2 years when I decided to write Pocket Space that I was like, enough is enough. If I'm not getting I'm getting enough signs to do this.
Yeah. Well, you're so incredibly talented. Not to be like, I know you're like,
thank you.
But like, it's very obvious you're very talented.
Thank you.
And so I'm glad, selfishly, I'm glad that you're doing it.
Well, I just, I've had to be very selfish to do it, I think, which, sometimes, but I do it. It's just something I'm so in love with in terms of, love of my life kind of thing. So I'm glad that I finally came to my senses and was like, it's okay to just like drawing enough that you want that to be a thing.
Hell yeah.
And I think I'd say that to, anyone who has a dream. Like, it's okay to just do that. Don't fight it. Yeah.
And now we get to have Frog and Bunny in a book, and I'm very happy about it.
Yeah, thank you very much. What was I gonna say? Oh, sorry, you go. I forgot.
Oh, you're fine. I have ADHD. I'm all over the place. You never told me.
Same.
All good. It is all good. Oh man, see, and now I've hit my point where I was like, I have other questions to ask, and now they're gone.
That's what happened.
I would love to have you on again.
Yes.
And literally anytime, because I think you're great, and I feel like you jive well. And so if you enjoy this kind of thing, if we're doing another show again, what book do you think you would pick? And or I could pick if there's a book or like a type of book you're into. All right.
I would immediately say this one, but I would love to also do it again with you, and you tell me a book that I don't know. I think that would be a great experience.
I might pick another TKO book, actually, since you got that one from TKO, because I'm
in it.
Am obsessed with anything TKO puts out.
I think they're really good at finding artists that, like, I think so much of good art is underground. Yeah. And they're so good at finding, like, the latest kind of underground artists and being like, here you go, and giving them their platform.
Absolutely.
The other thing I wanted to say, because you asked what else I'm interested in.
Yeah.
Everyone, you like games? I
do a lot, yeah. I like everything, so.
Have you played the game Eastward?
No, but I've been looking at the art forever.
There's no excuse.
It's an RPG, right? Okay.
Anyone who likes games needs to don't run to the game Eastward, which took 7 years to make. Here's the artist for Eastward is so good that you can't even find their name anywhere. That's the level of talent. Like, they've worked in the game industry for a long time, but they don't put their art out. Yeah, and it's just they have completely developed this totally immersive world that you're like, I can't believe I'm here. It's so perfect. There are Ghibli references, there are Chrono Trigger references. Like, it's fantastic.
I've seen it around. It's been on my list, and I've seen so many good reviews about it.
It's fantastic. I cannot recommend it enough. Yeah. It's very PTSD adjacent.
Okay. Incredible. I mean, just looking at the artwork itself, it seems like that.
Yes. And they hired, like, an animation studio to do a 2D animation for the trailer, which I'm always, like, such a dork about. So
I will check it out as soon as I'm done with Yakuza Way of the Dragon, because that's literally all I'm doing right now.
That's very reasonable.
You know. I have a lot of hobbies, and it's all of them. So any geeky hobby, I pretty much have all of them except for, like, Magic the Gathering. That's the only thing I don't touch. But, like,
I gotta say,
else,
I'm deep in the Magic the Gathering.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I played the Digimon trading card game.
Oh, well, first of all, wait. Have we talked about... I'm sorry. I know you want to leave soon, but let me...
I literally don't care. I'm having so much fun. I don't care. I think you're great.
I have an alternate TikTok channel, which no one is allowed to call out, where I only talk about Digimon, and specifically, like, Digimon the original movie.
Wait!
If you've seen it, you haven't seen it.
Wait a second. Is there, like, a lot of Digimon out there?
That's all I talk about is Digimon.
Wait a second. That's not the one where, like, okay, if I'm getting mixed with somebody else, please forgive me. That's not the one where you talk about Digimon you can fuck, right?
That is me.
Oh my god! Oh my god! No! I fucking love your videos!
No, I'm I like to create little TikTok satellite accounts that are all related to my greatest passions.
Oh my god, your TikTok is so
good! Yeah. My secret Digimon account. Exposed.
It's so good, though!
Thanks. I haven't posted in forever because I was like, this is
that was the funniest bit. The funniest bit.
Thank you.
I just love people sending you normal stuff. And you'd be like, no. Andromon, please.
First of all, like, I mean, if we're going to talk about it, we're going to talk about it. It doesn't count.
I love Digimon so much. It's fine. Like, I play all the games.
Angemon is such a cop-out. And we all know what I'm saying. Like, we all know that you have thought, like, way deeper down. And if you say
adventurous.
Yeah, be adventurous. Yeah, give me, like, Metal Garurumon or something. Like, I need to work with, like, a much more specific group.
I love you so much. I'm so excited.
I always like, oh man, I always hope that nobody will find those two together, but it's fun. Just don't find my other ones.
I have to. You have to tell me later. Like, I have to know. Oh, this has made my day. I'm gonna cry because I'm laughing so hard. Oh my god, your TikTok is so good. I would have never thought.
You know, I grew my hair out. It's a certain vibe I put on for the Digimon content, you know?
My mind is blown. Now we have to hang out, talk about Digimon.
I think there's a lot of Digimon in Pocket Space without apologizing. There's just a lot of it. I think Digimon is iconic, and it was made, you know, at the studios where they're making Dragon Ball Z, like in a very
and the Digimon original movie is a classic. I don't care that it's 3 movies put together. The soundtrack is perfect. And if I had the time, I would take the soundtrack from the American Digimon movie and I would put it to Summer Wars because it's literally the same movie.
Wait, did you see the new one by Hosoda?
Of course.
Okay.
I love Mamoru Hosoda so fucking much.
Me too. And I was watching. Okay, it was Belle was the film. If
love it. I have the Blu-ray. I pre-ordered the figure. Like,
I was literally like this video is about becoming TikTok famous, but by the end of it, I was like crying. I had like goosebumps like all over my arms. I was like, with the beast, like what's gonna happen?
And not what I thought at all. As a monster lover, I was like, okay, I'm still fine with it.
Right. Oh yeah, no, I really thought we were going in a different direction, but like that's 100%. Fine.
It's okay.
This direction's fine, you know. So it's a great. He's a fantastic director, and I'm glad he's still doing things.
I love you so much.
You too. Thanks for indulging me, really.
100% anytime. Thank you. Anytime I can talk about Digimon the movie, I'm very happy.
I literally I sat my boyfriend down a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, the time has come. It's going to be a lot of talking on my part. It's going to be like, I'm very serious about this. Like, sit down. We're watching the Digimon film.
100%. Also, please play the video games if you haven't, because they're very good.
Well, like the OG? Okay. You know,
I'm very upset about the Digimon game because it's very hard. I do own it.
I hate it when that happens.
God, it's so hard. But the new ones
You're like, I'm just on my grind. Yeah.
And then they're like, hey, okay, Digimon World, like the new Digimon World. Spoilers, I guess, but they bring back the protagonists from the first Digimon World, and I freaked the fuck out. I was just so excited. It's so good. Digimon my husband's gonna laugh at me really hard right now because he's like, he knows I've shown him your TikToks too.
The best Digimon anime season is season 1. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, it's not a contest. It's in. They really went off on the later seasons, but I didn't know where we were. You know?
It's very good. I wish my Godamon wasn't here and not in the other room. And I wish I was wearing my Digimon socks, because normally I am, so.
I want to get like one of the original Digi eggs tattooed really badly. So I got a tattoo gun, and I feel like I'm going to do it myself. Any day now. I was going to do another TikTok.
Ooh, I support this.
You keep this quiet.
I won't tell anybody. It's just between me and the people that are watching this right now.
Right, exactly. I need you guys to not blow my lid on my Digimon account. Anyway, I want to tattoo live like Digimon stuff and just have it, you know. I think
hell yeah.
I think it'd be great.
I'll be there.
My arriving back to my Digimon account because I've been away for a year.
That's my husband. He likes to talk in Wormmon voice or say Armadillomon all the time.
Look, it's an iconic little segment.
It's so good. It's so good. Anyways, I should end this before we keep talking about Digimon. I don't know if this is important to anybody. First of all, I want to say thank you, Millie, for being here, and I will force you to be my new friend. I'm sorry.
No, we're in.
I need this, so. My bad.
If that algorithm has shown you my top tier TikToks, then I think we're already besties. It's just implied.
I can't believe this is the best. everyone, please check out all of Millie's everything. I put it in the description of the video. I will share the shit out of the Kickstarter once it happens.
Thank you.
I know I will be fighting Brittany for any of the items that are happening there, but Brittany, if you can spare me one, we're good. So once again, I want to share about Pocket Space. Check out the Kickstarter coming soon. Check out Millie. Check out all the beautiful artwork behind her. You never heard about the Digimon thing, so don't tell people.
It's my secret.
And everyone, if you're watching this later, please comment in the chat about how great Millie is. I would appreciate it. And how great PTSD is, and how excited you are for the Kickstarter. And what your favorite Digimon is, because I think that's also great content. Thank you all so much. I will be back next week with something. I haven't planned any of September. No one is surprised. So thank you all so much. Millie, if you want to say anything, any last words, you're welcome to. No pressure.
Well, thank you very much to Maddie. I really appreciate it. Thanks for getting me out of my shell. Pocket Space coming out any year now. Who knows? Month? Day? Who knows?
Who knows?
But it's millistjohn.com, milistjohn.com for my work. And if anybody needs work done, I am taking freelance clients, so call me.
Yeah. All right. Have a good night, everybody.